Hello, welcome to Fireside Tales and Treats. I'm Jolene. I'm going to be your lovely host. And for today's treat, I'm going to take you back just a few years, and we're going to make a treat called Spotted Pup. So, what you want to do first is cook you up some rice. How much rice? Well, however much you think, you and your pups might want to eat. So you go ahead and cook the rice up ahead of time, which I've done here. However much you want, and then you're going to top that, which I've also done with some well-beaten eggs, like you're going to make some scrambled eggs and milk on top of there. So that's what we have in the pot so far. Next, we're going to add some raisins. Just grab my stuff here. We want to sweeten it up with some raisins, and that's what's going to give us our spots as well. So you're going to put some raisins in there. We're also going to put just a dash of salt. We want to sweeten it up even a little bit more with some sugar, if we can get it to come out here. There we go. A little bit of nutmeg. Put some of that on there. And then just, like maybe a teaspoon of vanilla. There we go. And I'm just going to mix this all up. That's pretty good so far. Try to make us a little spot here in the fire for it. So I'm going to mix all that up really good. Okay, so this is what it looks like now. With all our stuff on there. Then I'm going to put our lid on. And I'm going to stick it right in the fire here to cook that all up. Hopefully we can slip him right on the side. Here. Let's put him there, see how he does. If flames start shooting out or I smell it burning, I might have to interrupt our tale to check on the treat. But looks good so far. Okay, so Spotted Pup we got going on. So while that's cooking, we're going to dive into today's tale. Now, we know that the gold excitement that hit Montana back in the day, it lured many folks to this country. One of the early Montana placer camps, known as Beartown, was formed from the Bear Creek diggings located in what was then Missoula County, but it's now in Granite. The gulch was rich and is credited with a production of $1 million within just its first 2 years of discovery. But where did all that begin? Well, one of the discoverers of that placer gold on Bear Creek shared his story in 1917, and now I'm going to share it with you. I am one of the discoverers of placer gold on Bear Creek, said Amos Calvin, an old and respected resident of Helena. The facts relating to the discoveries in Gold Creek, Grasshopper, Alder, Last Chance, Confederate, and some less important placer camps have been related in various historical publications. I will add my mite to the early history of Montana by telling of the discovery of the Bear Creek placers. The news of the gold discoveries in Montana created great excitement in Walla Walla, and I and Lewis Ward decided to start for the new gold fields and try our luck out there. We knew that flour would sell for a high price at the placer camps and arranged with Jack Thornburg, who for many years had been packing supplies out of Walla Walla to the placer camps of Idaho and British Columbia and to remote settlements in Oregon and Washington for a large pack train. At a mill 20 miles east of Walla Walla, we bought enough flour at $5 a 100 pounds to load the 65 pack mules, and Thornburg contracted to deliver it at Blackfoot City at a cost of 17 cents a 100 pounds. 2 pack mules were loaded with supplies for ourselves, and each rode a saddle horse. Jack Thornburg came with us, together with John Sanchez, his chief packer and cargador, and a cook and a bellboy. This large train proceeded rapidly without mishap through western Washington, which had recently been the scene of an Indian war. We reached Coeur d'Alene Mission, and there our only trouble occurred. We killed a thieving dog, and the Indians became incensed, but through the intercession of the priests of the mission, and on payment of a quantity of sugar and other things, peaceful relations were established again. The road we took from the mission crossed the Coeur d'Alene Mountains, and Sanchez was the guide. We crossed the range without incident and came into the Missoula Valley. At Frenchtown, we were told of the recent hanging by the vigilantes of 2 desperate characters. We passed through Hellgate Canyon and arrived safely at Blackfoot City, where we sold our flour for $45 the 100 pounds. We left Walla Walla August 5th and reached Blackfoot August 31st, 1865, so that the trip was made in 29 days. Bear Creek, as it is now known, is 48 miles east of Missoula, and when we crossed it, I said to Ward, "This looks like a good gulch to prospect. Let's come back after we get to Blackfoot and see what we can find." He agreed to the proposal. From Blackfoot, we made a trip to Helena and were there when the horseshoe eclipse of the sun occurred on the morning of September 3rd, 1865. We returned in a few days to Blackfoot, where Johnny Boswick and Major Burton joined Ward and myself, and the 4 of us went to the gulch we had decided to prospect. We went up the gulch prospecting, and on October 21st, 1865, we found pay dirt. The discovery was made about 7 miles up the creek at a place where Beartown afterwards was built. The discoverers were Amos Calvin, Lewis Ward, and Johnny Boswick, Burton being away at the time hunting. I washed the first pan of dirt, which yielded about $2.50 in gold dust. About that time, we noticed some men coming up the gulch, and we hid our panning in the grass. They were Ed and Joe Booth and others who went higher up and afterwards discovered Last Chance, a side gulch near where the quartz mining camp of Garnet was afterwards located. Next day, we located the discovery claim and made a second discovery about a mile above the first one. Each one of the discoverers had a claim and a half a claim, or 300 feet in the gulch. Boswick went to Blackfoot for supplies, and news of the discovery we had made leaked out. On the night of the 3rd day after the discovery, there were 10 men in the gulch. By the next morning, there were 100. A stampede set in, and soon between 2,000 and 3,000 people were in Bear Gulch. The creek and the gulch and the town that sprang up owe the name of Bear to Burton. He was hunting on the day the discovery was made and killed a huge grizzly bear. On his return to camp that night, he was told of the finding of the gold, and it was on his motion that we named the place Bear Gulch. Fortune did not favor the discoverers, and we got little gold from our claims. We had the bad luck to leave unworked on the discovery claim a small strip that seemed of no value. We abandoned the claim, and along came John St. John and his partner, who located the ground and in a short time took $200,000 from the unworked strip. St. John took his $100,000 and he went to San Francisco, and boy, did he have a good time. In 6 months, he was broke and wrote back to Beartown for money enough to bring him back. I do not remember the name of St. John's partner and have no knowledge of what became of his share of the fortune. Beartown was the name of the town that was built in the gulch. There was never any dull times there, continued Mr. Calvin. A rough and reckless element had come into the gulch, and it was a wild camp. Money was plentiful, and there was much drinking and gambling and fighting. Saloons and gambling houses kept open all night long. Among the prominent residents of Beartown were Uppbeat, Stuttering Smith, French Levi, and Cy Mulkey, gamblers from Walla Walla. Gunfights were not uncommon, and several men were killed. I helped to make coffins for them out of sluice box boards, a coffin not so cheap as one might now suppose. Boards for sluice boxes were whipsawed from logs, cut in the neighborhood, and cost 25 cents the running foot. Planks for sluice boxes were 12 feet long and 12 inches wide. Whipsawing was hard but profitable work, and some men were very expert at it. Blackjack and his partner, Latham, were the best, and one day they whipsawed 500 feet of planks, earning $125. Now, Mr. Amos Calvin, he remained in Bear Gulch until 1869, when he moved to Jefferson County and acquired valuable mining and ranch property at Bernice. He passed away at age 87 in the Montana Soldiers' Home in Lewis and Clark County. Amos was a highly respected man and stayed active in public affairs. We'll remember him as one of the great pioneers of Montana. And that's the story of the diggings at Bear Gulch. Now, I'm hoping by this time that maybe this Spotted Pup's ready for us to try out, and I can show you what it looks like. So let's go ahead and take a look. Well, it's steaming. Let's see. Wow. Looks good. It smells good. I'm going to show you what it looks like now. There's our Spotted Pup. I'm going to let it cool off just a little bit, but then we'll taste it and see what we think. See if I can feed it to the kids without them, making a face. So Spotted Pup and the tale of Bear Gulch and Amos Calvin. Well, thank you so much for joining us. And let's cool off and come back for a nibble. Okay, so let's see what we got here. It's still kind of sizzling, so hopefully it won't burn my mouth. It's actually really, really good. So make sure you go and try this. So the recipe for Spotted Pup will be included in this post. So please like and subscribe to our page for more Fireside Tales and Treats. We'll see what else we can whip up here. You can find us on Facebook, we're Ghost Towns and History of Montana, or on Instagram, MT Ghost Towns. But until next time, take care out there. Bye-bye.